2023's Anatomy of a Fall. A ball goes bounce, 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 bounce down this alpine house's stairs, and then later, husband falls or is pushed to his death. Snoop, Snoop the dog, put the ball down, and and tripped, shoved the father over the balcony, struck his head, whacked it on the thing. Snoop went out, licked off certain blood traces, dragged the body to the correct spot, then quickly went back to the son. Why? Because when being taken to the vet by the father and the son, the father has a conversation with the son saying, "Oh, at some point, Snoop is going to die." Snoop doesn't understand that this conversation is actually about the father's suicidal ideation, thinks that the father is going to kill him, so this hatches this plan to murder the father. Thus, Anatomy of the Fall. There's no problem. It's a very clear, open, shut case. Maybe not. Maybe not. Actually, this is a movie that seems to very purposefully present characters making ridiculous declarative statements of how they believe things happened when it is so obvious. The psychiatrist who calls the wife a castrating bitch, who blamed her, who made the husband feel terrible about all his stuff and stopped him from writing. The audio expert who said, "Oh, obviously she flew in from this sound recording. I can tell that she flew into a murderous rage and attacked the husband," from an audio recording. From the son who says, "No, my father had a conversation to be about how I should prepare for my Snoop will die at some point. And I should be able to, accept that." That was obviously, from the son's point of view, my father planning to commit suicide. It's like, in each and every one of these cases and others, it is all about people constructing their own meaning. Indeed, the child minder for the court says, tells Daniel, "Oh, you have to make up your decision of what you believe is the truth, not, hey, maybe just report what you saw and try to suspend judgment." Nobody in any of these proceedings seems to suspend judgment for a second and actually collect data, even at the beginning when they're like, "Okay, kid, you obviously didn't hear it right." It's like, "Well, maybe it was this." It's like, no, you're obviously fooling yourself. It's like, "Nope, we're completely closed off. There is only always people decide how it went, and then they just follow things doggedly." Which, I mean, we've seen plenty of procedurals, wrongful justice procedurals, where police have made a decision at the beginning of this person's obviously guilty, and then excluded anything that might actually contradict their evidence. This seems to be sort of that case. Also, super sexist. Definitely a whole bunch of stuff in here where it's like, well, if you're a woman having an affair in France, you're evil. Versus if it was a guy, it was like, "Oh no, that would be, you're French, that is totally fine. It's very natural for a man." But for a woman to do that, you're obviously just destroying your man's fragile ego. And stuff like the husband in the thing saying like, "I can't find time to write. You need to sacrifice more of your time because, I'm a man and men should be given all the time in the world. You should sacrifice your time." It's like, she's like, "No, we have equal amounts of time. You decided to do all this stuff to self-sabotage yourself. That's your own goddamn fault. And, if you want to write, just write." You giving yourself more time. It's like, use the time you have, dude. You haven't been using it. It's like everything seems to push. All seems to be very much weighted for the wife, the writer wife. There's the wife, mother, writer. It's like, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we have the prosecution. It is definitely prosecution. It's not supposed to be an adversarial system, but it's the prosecution basically going, "Oh, you've written books, and we're going to prosecute you using books." It's like, dude. I mean, this is also kind of one of these stupid fallacies you see in actual life, where people seem to confuse the idea of, this is fiction, this is made up. It may be made up from things that have happened in my life, but it's made up and can't really be used as evidence in a court of law. And so, yeah, it's very much an indictment of the French legal system. It's maybe very much a comment on how life is subjective and we all put our own spins and our own interpretations on things. And, you, you know, I mean, at some point you have to kind of agree on some kind of reality, or else we wouldn't be able to drive cars. Um, we do have a justice system and courts for not to get to truth, but to get to justice. And I mean, I'm totally fine with her getting acquitted because it's like, yeah, no, we didn't really unearth anything that could actually say you did it. Now, can we say you're innocent? No, but we can say you're not guilty, which are two different things. And we're not really here to say give you innocence. We're here to give you not guilty. Okay, they got that. So at least they got that right. That might be a thumbs up for this somewhat fantastical story. It feels fantastical, at least from viewpoint of a Canadian, probably inculcated with a whole bunch of American legal system stuff. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.